All right, welcome to the Ryan Ripken Show. I guess special edition. We kind of actually had something planned already, But because we're having Jerry Hariston Jr. on a positive note here, Jerry Hariston Jr., former Baltimore Oriole, is going to join us here at 3 p.m. We're going to talk about Dodgers, going to talk about the beginning of the season and a little bit of Orioles. But now we're coming on right now, Zach. It's Zach and I in the studio because there is some breaking news. Jackson Holliday, number one prospect in all of baseball, number one prospect, obviously, then for the Baltimore Orioles, and everyone's hope to be Rookie of the Year, has been reassigned to minor league camp. And Zach, you actually, this is very foreshadowing. You started the day off with a specific tweet.
Oh, yeah. No, I actually tweeted out earlier today that it would be a great day. It is beautiful. If you're here in the Baltimore, you know it is a beautiful day outside. It is just gorgeous. And it was a perfect Friday to announce Jackson Holliday made the team. And Mike Elias and company had other plans. So first, I'm going to get off all the knee-jerk fan reactions inside me. This is stupid. This is malpractice. This is service time manipulation. This is just downright wrong. But at the same time, I do understand that there is a window for the Orioles, and I don't think, as we've talked about and we're going to get into, I don't think Jackson Holliday, no matter how well he did, he was going to have an opportunity to make this team.
Yeah, I think this is something, and I said this even from the beginning, because we had Cedric on here way before the season started, and he talked and raved about Jackson Holliday. And I even said when spring training started that I still thought it was an uphill battle for Jackson, not because he's not talented. If you saw what he did down the stretch, and I, if you told me now he's going to make the team, 100%, I said, hell yeah, let's go, let's ride. But I also understood if they say he wasn't, because of the game plan, because of the thought process. And my thought process before, again, this is not my opinion on what I would do. This is just the opinion of what I've understood being around the game. When you have young players and you don't have to push the envelope, you're going to have a little bit more of, I guess some time to let things develop. And in their minds, this wasn't a pressing need to have Jackson go out there, and probably going into spring training, he was going to have to be beyond perfect. And it felt like he was almost perfect down the stretch, Zach. And I guess people look at it, his numbers are very good. Hit over 300, felt like he was finding a rhythm. But still, that wasn't him hitting 500. And again, that's ridiculous. That's unrealistic. But that's how I felt deep down, that that's what was going to happen with Jackson Holliday. And I understand the outrage. A lot of people obviously are upset that Jackson's not on the team. Doesn't change his outlook for the rest of the season. But the excitement, Zach, I think that's what Orioles Twitter right now, if I'm reading all the comments right now coming in. By the way, if you're new to the show, you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button as well. Let us know your thoughts here. We're going to get to it. There's a lot of comments so far. But, Zach, I think that's where it is, just the desire to see a talented player who people thought is one of the best 26 players to start the season in Baltimore on Thursday.
Oh, yeah. I think that's the biggest thing is, like you said, it's the disappointment factor. It's that everyone was so excited. There was the thought of the orange carpet, next week after everything, the rough ending to last year, was going to be seeing Adley, Gunnar, all the guys back. And then you add Jackson Holliday to it, Corbin Burnes on the mound. It just felt like something meant to be. It was like a dream scenario, and it felt so close. And I think that's why it's frustrating is if he hadn't been hitting so well, if he hadn't been playing so well, this would have become less of a shock. If he was batting 213, maybe a home run or two, I think it would be closer. I don't think people would be as upset. But, man, we saw the grand slam. You saw the RBIs. You saw the triples, the fielding, and it got people excited. All of a sudden, people were like, this guy is good. This guy is exciting. He's that next piece, that last puzzle piece potentially to put this team over the top. And it was just a week away, less than a week away. I think people had already kind of penciled. Hand up. I had penciled, if not penned, in Jackson Holliday on the 26-man roster to start. And I think that's why it's brutal is, people, they were so close. They thought it was right there and they thought we had it. And then he gets reassigned to AAA.
Yeah. And I think the other context of this, against the desire, but I don't want to diminish the other Orioles. And this is something where people are going, well, who cares? He's got more upside and talent than guys like Ramon Urias and Jorge Mateo, Jorge Mateo is official on the team. Ramon Urias, I believe, is going to be on the team. I always thought those guys were going to be on the team, but people are going, well, Ryan, why? Why are those guys? Well, they're more established. And again, maybe it just goes back to there's a game plan in place, whether people like it or not. I'm not sitting up here and trying to tell you that this is my opinion. Again, I'm just trying to explain a little bit more of why. And for the Orioles and what they've done with guys, the track record, Adley Rutschman didn't start the season. Gunnar Henderson didn't start the season in Baltimore. Jackson Holliday, even younger, and now everyone's saying, well, wait a minute, they're ready to go. They're not going away from their game plan, if that makes sense. And their game plan was, we want to see a little bit more time. We like the guys that we have right now, and we're not going to push it. And Zach, I actually brought this up last night. It was the fact that things are sometimes decided beforehand.
Yeah.
And wasn't there a comment? I'll play the video in a second so I can get it up. But there was a comment that Hyde made back on March 5th about Jackson's stats. Can you explain that for a second?
Yeah, actually, and I can pull it up on my Twitter real quick because I just quote tweeted it. So there we go. So pretty much back on, it was March 5th. I'll pull up the tweet so everyone watching can see it. Let me see this real quick, people. Hold on. Stay with me. All right. Yeah, here we go. So March 5th, Steve Milewski puts out, Brandon Hyde was asked about how stats will factor into whether Jackson Holliday goes north to Baltimore with the team. Hyde said, I think, honestly, it's a small part because the sample size is so small. It's more about the quality of the AB he is taking, how he handles the speed of the game defensively. I'm not going to lie. At the time, I thought that was almost him saying, even if he struggles a little bit, we like what we're seeing and he's going up north, because at the time, Jackson Holliday was struggling a little bit. So it felt like Brandon Hyde and them were kind of giving him a little bit of confidence of, hey, we just want to see you continue to improve and you'll head up north. I think people got a lot of hope from that. Now looking back at it, it was Brandon Hyde giving the precursor of, hey, if this kid takes off and starts dominating, we're not just going to look at his, spring training numbers and go, okay, he hit the best of, in the top 26 on the team. Statistically, he makes the squad. And I think that's what upsets a lot of people is they did think that Hyde and them were going to put him on the team because of previous comments.
Yeah. And so let me play the video literally last night with Ravens long snapper Nick Moore. And I asked Nick this question because people that don't know this, Nick played professional baseball as well. So Nick and I had a little conversation with the rest of the group explaining how in spring training, sometimes certain things are already decided before you get down there. So just to give context, why don't you guys have a listen? With that, and I was telling you guys before, Nick knows this too. This is maybe a secret that we can share here on the Ryan Ripken Show, and then we'll get out of here on this one, is that sometimes, Nick, they just have things already decided, and spring training for certain guys does not matter at all.
It's predetermined regardless of statistics and how they perform during spring training.
Yeah, like there are certain guys that they already saying no matter what, you're on the team.
That's that football too. I mean, you automatically know certain guys are going to be on the 53 man.
Oh, 100%. Especially when it comes to draftees and undrafted. It's the same. You give them the chance to make mistakes during spring training, knowing that they're already on the team. So I don't know if the players know it. You get a vibe. If you're a player, you get a vibe of who those people are, but it allows you to just kind of let them do their thing and kind of take away a little bit of the stress. But Rip's right. I mean, there so many times in baseball and in football.
So there's a little bit of, and I guess the irony, and maybe we timed that up right, Zach. I don't know if I brought that up, but it is true. And Hyde made the comments. They had a certain plan, and that's why I stressed the level of expectation or perfection that Jackson was going to have to play with. It's not because he's not talented. It's just because the certain plan was already kind of in place, in my opinion. And therefore, the Orioles wanted to stick to their plans despite what happens in spring training. And let's just face it, too. And actually, that's what I'm excited to have Jerry Hariston Jr. on, by the way. For those that have been O's fans for a while, not if you're a recent O's fan, well, glad you're an O's fan. But if you've been through the days, you remember Jerry Hariston Jr. coming up in the late 90s, early 2000s window. And Jerry's can touch on a lot of what spring training means. And honestly, if spring training really has the same value for all the players, a lot of insight that he's going to be able to share. And again, if you're new to the channel, guys, hit that like and subscribe button. Obviously, we do this show Monday and Thursday, and we're going to add Sundays, but we also cover breaking coverage. And in this case, this is the Jackson Holliday news of the breaking coverage. He's not making the team. He's also not the only Oriole that was reassigned today. If I'm
Yeah.
not mistaken, Zach, Kyle Stowers,
Yeah.
Heston Kjerstad, right?
Yeah. And Kobe Mayo.
And Kobe Mayo. And again, guys, Kyle Stowers had a great spring.
Mhm.
Kobe Mayo's had a great spring, but it doesn't necessarily, that's what we're trying to conceptualize, that a spring training doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to mean for the opportunity to start with the team. It's a great starting point, but it doesn't necessarily mean that that is what's going to get you to the big leagues. And Birdland Network, Jerry Hariston, I remember him. I remember Jerry too. I was a little kid running around, and it's just so weird now to be in this position. But Jerry covers the Dodgers, but obviously he's so in tune, playing the big leagues for such a long time. He's going to be able to give us so much insights on what's happened so far with the big league season, because it started, and obviously with some of the expected, season talent that the Orioles have. He's got a lot of thoughts. Zach, sorry, you clicked that again. Go ahead. My bad. I clicked the wrong one. There we go.
I think we can almost I would say Cowser made the team, it looks like. I would just based off of who's been sent down, I feel like it would be between him and McKenna now. If anything, I see we have a question here. So if Jackson is down, what do we think about Cowser? I'm kind of getting the sense he made the team. What do you think, Ryan?
It feels like Cowser, Cow Moo. I never did the moo yet, but I'd like to hear the moo more in Baltimore. I think he was one of those guys where he's battling at the spot with Heston. And so in my opinion, defensively where it is, if it's between Cowser and McKenna, I feel like Cowser's really proved the point that he's ready to go. But he was already, he did everything in AAA last year. And we talked about it a little bit. Maybe I need to do a Cowser breakdown if I feel like doing it later this show. Maybe we just say, screw it. Colton Cowser, the spring training highlights and a little bit of what happened last year. But it was the same thing we talked about with Kyle Stowers. They came up last year, then they didn't play. Then they got a little bit maybe in their heads, lost their confidence. But I'll tell you what, new offseason coming in, Cowser's hit the ground running. He's hitting pitches with 2 strikes. He's driving the ball a mile.
Yeah.
He looks ready. And again, I think he has a better idea, Zach, that if he's not one of the starting 3 outfielders, how he's going to be better prepared to be having to come off the bench or be more situational. And I think that's something that we're going to have to at least know. And I saw, do we want to talk about, I guess I was looking at it because the Colton Wong situation, because he can opt out. I think he did opt out.
Yeah, he already opted out. So if he doesn't make the team, he'll just be a free agent.
Right. And so for people to understand that decision did not go into Jackson Holliday. So the ones that are saying you're really going to give Colton Wong an opportunity. Colton Wong was brought in as depth to see what was going to happen. If he makes the team, great. Great for him and great for the team, whatever it's going to be. But that's not the case all the time. You got to bring more guys in. And also, who knows Jackson Holliday pretty well, Zach?
Colton Wong. And I'm not going to lie. I was kind of surprised for that reason. I almost thought Colton Wong would be okay with going down to the minors to help Jackson, but that's besides the point. Yeah, Colton Wong opting out of his minor league deal with the Orioles if he doesn't make the team had no impact on Jackson Holliday. They were not going to make that decision off of someone they brought in on a minor league deal a month ago. Something that was kind of brought up earlier here, and I was trying to find it. It really is getting tougher as a big fan of Kyle Stowers just to watch him go through this each year, because it is getting to the point, and as much as I hate to say it, like I just am praying he gets traded, because I want him to go out there and get consistent at bats in the big leagues, because we've seen, you did a breakdown on him, Ryan. Everything's there. When he's clicking, he can drive the ball to all fields. He's got incredible bat to ball skills, and it's truly just frustrating. And I can't even imagine what it's like for him he had the spring training of a lifetime, what you would dream of having if you're competing for a spot. And just like we said that Jackson Holliday was going in, and it looks like maybe there was no chance, no matter how well he played, that he made the team. It almost feels like Kyle Stowers could have batted 1,000 with 15 home runs and 100 RBIs in 20 games, and they'd be like, sorry, we don't have room. And that's just the unfortunate situation of how stacked the Orioles are, especially in the outfield right now.
Yeah, and it's different also if you're a player that has been established. And so if you're off to a hot start in spring training and you've already been up there, then they're going to say, oh, it could have a great year. But I also want to explain to people the correlation between spring training, go to the big leagues, or going to the regular season does not mean you're going to have a great year. And I think that's the part that is so surprising. At least when I talk to people, like, wait a minute, it doesn't really matter as much. Well, look in the past, guys that have had unbelievable spring trainings, and you can even talk to guys. Jake Fox, you brought up multiple times.
Yeah, he's every time Kyle Stowers did something, that's all people on Twitter would talk about is, well, remember Jake Fox. And unfortunately, it's true. Spring training success does not equal regular season success.
No, and eventually maybe if we allow him, or I allow him, if Calvin would come on and preach this, I bet you Jerry Hariston Jr. says a similar thing. Can't wait to ask him. But there were times then where you felt you were the best hitter in spring, and then you get to the regular season and it all vanishes because there's a different level of intensity and there's a different level of rhythm. You're trying to get ready for the season. And that's why each guy, we talked about Craig Kimbrell the other day. Remember when people were a little bit worried about Craig Kimbrell like a few weeks ago? Yeah. And Craig Kimbrell then decided to throw a changeup the other day. Nasty. Disgusting, by the way.
I wish I could just decide to throw a new pitch and it be that disgusting. Hey. So, Kevin came in the background. I just couldn't even laugh.
Where's Kevin? Kevin. Oh, my God.
There
that
he
is terrifying. Kevin, there's kids here. And we also have another good kid. Why don't you get set up? Good kid. Yeah, we have another good kid in the background here. Rocco DeSangro. Rocco, good to see you, man. Guys? Thanks for joining the stream.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Yeah, that was terrifying. That was like something out of a horror movie with Kevin in the background. He is a menace. Tori. What's
Rocco,
going on, guys?
I do want to say this, and I hate that I'm giving you credit. I found out that Jackson Holliday didn't make the team because of Rocco's tweet. And that made it so much harder. Like, imagine you find out that Jackson Holliday didn't make the team, so you're crushed, and then you look at the source, you're like, this gotta be fake. And then it's Rocco's face. That was brutal. Heartbreaking.
Music to my ears, Zach. That's all I need.
I didn't quote tweet it, though. I quote tweeted someone else's. I wouldn't give you that.
Yeah, I know. It is what it is. So
yeah, good kids. Also, yeah, Kevin, you're getting a lot of comments from being like a Michael Myers-esque right behind.
I wanted to make it our own personal Ryan Ripken Show meme, so that now we can use that whenever like someone's creeping up on somebody else.
Oh, it's perfect. It's like, or like Monday's coming around, like the Monday scare.
Oh, were you trying to scare him?
I half scare him, half make a meme. It was a little bit of both.
Well, I thought you were saying
I was saying shh.
I thought you were like, because he was like giving me the shh, and I was like,
yeah, like, hey, there he is.
Yeah, I was like, it's pretty casual, Kevin. We don't have to pretend like you were here the whole time. I was like, you can say you're walking in.
No.
Good kids. All right, let's get back to this topic real quickly here. I saw one comment up earlier. Where was it? I just had it. And this is going back to the conversation about if spring training matters. And Rock, I'm going to ask you a question here in 1 second, one moment. But so comment here, Holliday had 15 Ks and 47 at bats compared to 2 walks. Did that have an impact? I still don't think that specifically had an impact. Now, Jackson Holliday in general, and this is kind of the new day and age of baseball where striking out doesn't matter as much in people's minds. It's really if you get on base. I really care about if you can drive the baseball, you can get on base. So I don't think that's a big proponent of it. And last year, to give the context for Jackson's season, he played 125 games. He struck out 118 times, but he did walk 101. So look, but he also did hit 323 over 3 levels last year.
Also,
4 levels.
I could easily pull this up and be wrong, but it wasn't his first. It was like 5 of those strikeouts were within his first 7 at bats or something. So that's another thing is he did make adjustments throughout. So I don't think that stat necessarily the strikeouts are what made them say like, no, we don't think he's ready, something like that. I think it was more just like we've talked about this whole time. I think going into spring training in the grand scheme of things, they didn't think Jackson was ready. Now, whether or not that's the right decision, we'll find out, or I guess we'll never know. But I think, he's going to be here soon. Yeah. I think that's the biggest thing is like me and Ryan were talking about this earlier. It's not like him not making the team means that, we have to wait till next year. Like this can very easily be he's up here in 3 weeks. He's up here in a month. Grayson, let's all remember, unfortunately this was because of a little bit of an injury. Kyle Bradish took the ground ball off the shin, but Grayson Rodriguez didn't make the team last year, and everyone was up in arms, and it was this whole big thing of how can you not start him? He's so ready. And then 3 days into the season, he has to come up and make a start. So things are going to happen. We could see Holliday, in 3 weeks. We could see him in 2 months. It's going to be soon. I will say that.
Yeah, so back to the question with Rocco here. And by the way, if you're new to the Ryan Ripken Show, you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. We do this every Monday and Thursday. We're going to add another day and Sunday. The vibes were so high. Our friends at the 3-0 take, Kyle and Nate. Yeah, the vibes in Baltimore are high. I still think that they're high, guys, because opening day is next Thursday. I know people are saying opening day is ruined. It's sad. The birds are going to be buzzing down there. Zach's going to have 7 or 8 orange crushes at Pickles. He's going to be feeling good.
Pickles is going to be a move, whether Jackson Holliday was there or not. So just be ready still, people. Come on.
I feel like Zach has more of a reason to drink now.
I was going to say that, but then I actually on the way down, I think I said that right. I was like, wow, even better reason to drink at opening day now.
There's a lot to be excited about, a lot to be excited about still. And Jackson Holliday's time is coming. And I understand that. But Rock.
Yeah, wait, hold up real quick. Are we acting like everyone's like upset about opening day? Oh, it's not going to have Jackson Holliday. We still get to see Corbin Burnes pitch on opening day, people. Like, I understand we're upset about Jackson Holliday, but the people that are like, well, opening day sucks now. We still get a tiny, shiny new toy. Like, we're still getting to watch. Like, it's going to be fun.
Yeah. All right. So here's the thing, actually, Rolling with Rock. And Rolling with Rock, appreciate you. We have a Discord, by the way, that we're trying to get better and better. And Rolling with Rock is helping us. So if we can we'll try to put that link in there for people to join us. We have these conversations on the daily. Come join us in there. But Rock, this is actually going to the question I wanted to ask you. And Rolling with Rock said, the biggest issue I have is the message it sends. It tells the players they will not put their best 26 forward. It makes me worry about player morale, including how players and agents, contract renewals, etc. Rock, being down there, the guys understood the business part, right? I think, and I want you to touch on this. The guys believe that Jackson Holliday is super talented, but they also understood that there was a chance he was not going to be on the Baltimore Orioles opening day roster. And they were okay with it because they're ready for whatever is going to be asked of them. Is that the same sense? I think that's fair to say.
Yeah, that was the sense I got when I was down there with you. And you kind of got that feeling talking to Jackson Holliday and talking to Kobe Mayo. The hope is obviously that both guys would have broken camp with the team and been on that opening day roster, but that's just not the case for either. Jackson Holliday, everyone's had their eye on from, since he was drafted, and he's always going to be under the microscope, but he performed so well in spring training. There's not much more he could have done, if anything at all, to make the big league club. And you just asked me a question, Rip. I want to ask you a question because it's something we talked about last night on the show. For Jackson Holliday, do you think maybe the Orioles had this plan all along, agree with it or not, that regardless of if he were to hit like 14 home runs, just an absurd number in spring and just hit the cover off the ball? I mean, he hit over 300. He was really figuring it out, and a lot of people really thought he was going to make this club. Do you think maybe the Orioles had it in their mind, the front office, hey, no matter what he does, he's going down to the minors to start, whether you hate to hear that or not?
And I appreciate you saying that. And we touched on this a little bit earlier for those that didn't tune in, and this is a perfect way to bring it up. Spring training, and if you have a chance to rewatch the live stream, I put a video in there, and Rock, you remember it. It was Nick Moore saying that things are sometimes already made up. We've talked about it for a long time, that sometimes spring training matters more to others, and they already have decisions in place. And Brandon Hyde made a comment earlier in spring training when they said how much of spring success is going to factor into Jackson making the team. And he kind of gave a different answer. It was a little bit that would factor into him making the team. So in my opinion, that's why I kept telling people this. This is not my opinion. Again, this is just the example and the thought process.
Ryan is actually the reason that Jackson Holliday did not make the team. He texted Mike Elias and told him not to.
I did. I said, Uncle Mike, let's have a chat. and here it is. So you want to blame me for Jackson not being there? Guilty. But in all seriousness, I think that Jackson was going to have to be perfect. And people were saying, well, he would hit over 300, like you said, Rock. But to me, in that case, their minds of being perfect is hitting 600, hitting 700, which is very unrealistic. He had a great spring. He showed why he is ready to take over at some point. But for the Orioles, it wasn't their game plan. You're right, in my opinion, Rock, because if they were saying, you know what, I think he's going to be in there, then this number might have done it. But you're also seeing that they extremely value Jorge Mateo. Ramon Arias is one of the most dynamic players that they have on their team. And a lot of these young guys don't know how to be reserve guys yet, or guys that are being flexible. Look at all the players the Orioles brought up in the past couple of years, right? I think that's a big part of all of it. And Zach, I appreciate you. You're good. Zach Loud, the friend of the show, by the way. actually former Oriole, former teammate of mine. Guess we're going to have to get Zach on here to give some opinions, some thoughts, as he's seen it through as well, and he can be a part of Rip After Dark as well. But Rock, that kind of answers the question. But above all, Rock, again, for people to understand, this team's confident.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're a confident group, Rock. I mean, the pitching injuries, everything that's going on, did Dean, did Mike, did any of those guys, Cedric, did any of them think that they were not going to go out there and have a good start to the season?
No, not at all. They really embrace the next man up mentality, as cliche as it sounds in sports. You saw the Ravens do it during their season. You're going to see the Orioles do it with John Means and Kyle Bradish both expected to start the season on the IL. Other guys are stepping up in the starting rotation. And these are the guys we expected, talking starting rotation right now, with Wells, with Cole Irvin stepping in there, Dean being solidified, same with Grayson Rodriguez. But it will be, while it's maybe not the ideal starting rotation for O's fans because of injuries, yeah, let's see. What's Zach saying right there? Having Jackson as a utility guy if he's not starting.
I think you should read it out loud for everyone in camp. Why did you? Yeah,
he just started reading it under
off
his breath.
so strong, and they went.
Hey,
yeah,
actually,
well,
Kevin.
I mean, you pointed down, so I thought I had to read it.
Well, you didn't read it.
You know what, Kevin? Why don't you read it?
Having Jackson as a utility guy, if he's not starting, is not enough to have him break on opening day.
Bingo. And that is the reality. If he is not going to be playing every single day, it is not worth the time for his development. Okay. I saw a comment in here too. I think this was from Nate. Where can I find this one? Where did he go? He's hiding from me. The comment though, I said, does that put more pressure on a guy like Jordan Westberg? I don't think it puts any more pressure on Westberg. I think people are still going to align and look at Ramon Arias and Jorge Mateo. I think that those guys are the ones, because both of them are on the roster. I think Westy's going to mash. And I think Westy needs to be out there every day because he's a guy that this is his opportunity to fully shine. And Westy can play third, second, and actually he can play short. But as you guys heard, Gunnar Henderson's going to play a lot of short moving forward. So just to keep that in mind, the development of the young players is so important.
Do we think that, I mean, obviously there's a lot of frustration, and there would have been if this didn't happen, but do you think the frustration has been amplified because Langford made the Rangers?
Well,
yes. I will say that also broke minutes after Jackson Holliday was announced, so that was horrible timing.
Yeah.
You guys, so I don't know if you guys touched on this, but Buster Olney put a tweet out. It was polling execs recently about who the best 23 under player is, and more than half have said Jackson Holliday, but he starts the year in the minors. So just kind of let that sink in and settle a little bit. It's, it is what it is. The sky isn't falling. The O's are going to be fine. Jackson Holliday, Adley Rutschman didn't come up right away. And I know Jackson Holliday Adley had hype, but Jackson Holliday has the hype train going, coming off a great spring training, and his rise was different than, any player we've really seen come up through the organization. How quickly he rose through the minor league ranks and how quickly he got to AAA, and he's 20 years old. So I know people want him up there. I know a lot of fans were excited to see him run down that orange carpet on opening day. But it's, good things come to those who wait. Hopefully for Birdland, for this fan base, and for Jackson Holliday, his debut, when it does happen, it's going to be something special. I know that place is going to be packed.
Yeah. And also Wyatt Langford, again, went to college. And when you are actually a little bit older and you've gone through at the higher levels, and that's what people will look at. And Wyatt Langford, we're going to talk about a guy that's also hit the cover off the baseball, by the way. That dude is on something right now. He is, to me, if Jackson Holliday were not to win the Rookie of the Year, and Zach brings it up, Langford is 22 right now. He's 22 years old. I think one of the two Rangers, Carter or Langford, I actually thought if Jackson's not going to be up there, I said Carter. Langford very well could win it. That guy's got serious pop, can make an impact on the team in so many different ways, but specifically the biggest way for him is his bat. He can hit. Jackson also playing another position. We talked about it a little bit earlier, playing second base. He's played it in the minor leagues, but it's different when you have to go up there and play it in the major leagues each and every day. And quite frankly, I'd rather him play there than put him at the responsibility at shortstop at age 20. That's a lot. And also, you guys know how I feel about Gunnar Henderson playing shortstop. Mm-hmm. You guys know how that is. That's just, when you're looking at this, if you want to make Gunnar your guy at short, then Jackson has to be comfortable playing two positions he has not played a ton of at this period of time. So just to keep that open, by the way. OG Angler, well, He says, I'm going to sell my opening day tickets and just tailgate. Well, come
There
join
is still Corbin Burnes pitching, people. It's still going to be an absolute movie.
Hey, you know what I'll say though? You wanna come tailgate? Hey, Pickles Pub will be popping. I got 105.7 doing the pregame show for 2 hours down there. And also, if you're selling the tickets, I guarantee you someone's going to pick them up. Watch out for Kevin. He snuck up on me on the way in here.
That's right. There are going to be many memes made with a screenshot of that.
Yeah, so.
But what do we think the timeline is now? Do we think he's down there for a month and a half and he comes up? Is this like this can't be a September call up type deal.
Oh,
it's just
no,
too good for that. I mean, we're talking way earlier, but I'd assume at least maximum 2 months, 3 months.
I don't see. I also said 99% chance he makes the opening day roster. So take this word for what you want. I don't see any way he's still in the minors by the All-Star break at all. I just think that by then he's already shown so much. Like, yes, they want to see more. He only played 20 games in AAA, I think 18 actually. So I get that, and they want to see more, but I don't think it's, we want to see him get 100 games at AAA. I think it's more, let's make sure he's acclimated, keep him up to speed, get his confidence up still, make sure he's in a rhythm. And then when an opportunity arises that he can get everyday playing time, that's when they strike.
Yeah.
Yeah, they might. It's a game within the game. It's a business within a business, it feels like. And that's why I think when you're in it and you see it more often, it's not surprising. And for those, I just saw a comment, if he makes it over Colton Wong has the opt-out in his. So I don't think that Colton Wong is not the reason that Jackson Holliday makes the team or not. And just throwing that out there again, and to correct me, right, Zach, that Colton Wong is opting out unless he makes the team.
Yes, he is opting out.
So
I guess it's Nick Maton.
Nick Maton. So I played against Nick Maton as well, and I love Nick. I don't think it's the case. And Chris, it's the same thing. Sorry that we were trying to get out there. Meaning when he's opting out, more than likely in that situation, when you hear that, he's not going to be on the team. So again, Colton Wong's role, when you have Urias and Mateo, there's not another spot for a guy like Colton Wong, unless you're going to put him at second base every single day. I don't think that's going to happen when you have guys like Urias and Westberg that can play that position right now. So that's, Rick, I was just about to say this. Hit that like button if you dig it. Hey, Rick, we appreciate you.
Appreciate you, Rick.
Thank you, Rick.
There he is, Kevin. Couple good kids and Kevin. But we do this. We do this every Monday and Thursday. We're going to add another day. It's going to be a big week next week for opening day. We're less than a week away, and obviously there's a lot more news that has to unfold here as we wait to see what happens. And this is not the first roster move. And for those that are tuning in, by the way, Heston Kjerstad was optioned down, and so was Kyle Stowers. And actually, the question was brought up. I saw a comment saying, "I'm shocked that Heston Kjerstad wasn't on the team." And I told you guys this. I thought Heston was going to, oh boy.
We need a Zach squared. He's got to come on and we can get like a Zach squared segment. Just two Zachs chalking it up.
Yeah.
Chopping it up.
But you guys are separated by a single letter.
Yeah. Different enough that, gets a little diversity in there, but,
Well, my brother's name is actually also Zach, and he goes by Zachary in our family. So we can have Zach, and Zachary.
Yep.
Ed, and Eddie.
Oh, goodness gracious. Also, Kobe Mayo. And I saw Mayo question mark. Yeah. Mayo is also not in the equation right now. Talented player, but he's not going to be up there as the time goes on, because this is how the game of baseball works. And especially for a guy that plays the corner positions. Let's go through who would play the corner positions real quickly, guys. Jordan Westberg, Ramon Urias, Ryan Mountcastle, Ryan O'Hearn at first base, Anthony Santander. Where does Kobe Mayo fit in to start the season?
AAA.
Yep. So talented. There you go. Talented player, a lot going on, but we have to be patient. Everyone just take a deep breath. It's fine.
Now, we also got some comments from both Urias and Colton Wong. I don't know if we've gone over that yet, but Urias said, he looks ready to me. And then Colton Wong said, dude's a stud, man. He's going to be an incredible player. Sometimes the business aspects, how the game gets ran. So he's going to be up very soon. We all know that. So I don't think it's going to be a very long stay for Jackson in the minors, but I just think the disappointment of him not being on the roster is kind of where people are feeling frustrated, and rightfully so. Rightfully so.
Right, and I agree with that. 3-0 take no's. Great day to have a day, and let's be positive. And there's a lot of things to be positive about, okay?
Yeah.
So in this case, opening day is 1 week away. we're relaxing. And actually, I'm pumped because I finally get to talk to a guy that got to reconnect with. He's a former Oriole. He covers the Dodgers. And if you guys are ready for it, we're going to bring in former Baltimore Oriole, Jerry Hariston Jr. Jerry. Hey. Jerry, how you doing? Can you hear me all right?
I can hear you fine. How you guys doing?
Oh, we're doing great. I think Birdland a little bit is all over the place because of the news of Jackson Holliday. And I thought you actually are a perfect guy to bring on for this topic at this time because we're having the conversation of spring trainings, and you've been around a ton. Can you just touch a little bit on how when certain guys, decisions that need to be made, sometimes decisions are kind of already pre-decided or already, or, guys that are going to be on the team. It seems like that they already had a plan for a guy like Jackson Holliday, regardless of this decision that was made today.
I agree. I think a guy like Jackson, who's an all-world prospect, even though he had a tremendous spring, you can see that he is just about big league ready. I think they wanted to make sure that maybe he gets some at-bats down in AAA, make sure he kind of starts out hot. And then whenever he is ready to go, he'll get called up. Obviously, he will be a big leaguer this season. So I know a lot of the Oriole fans are a little disappointed, but I think this is the best for Jackson. I think if he starts the year in AAA, there's a whole lot less pressure on him when he does eventually get called up and make his major league debut, instead of making the open day roster and he's starting day one. So I think this is best for Jackson. We know that he comes from a tremendous family, the Holliday family. So I know he's disappointed, but for him, I think it is the best because this young man's going to be a star. And then obviously from the front office perspective, I'm sure they probably don't want to start his clock. That's always an aspect of it because he's going to be a special player.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I saw someone make a comment, you don't have to be on the roster on opening day. Everyone's worried about him winning the Rookie of the Year. But personally, if you don't start the year in the big leagues as a rookie and it's a month or 2 months go by, it's going to make it more challenging. Not that Jackson can't win Rookie of the Year. And obviously, if the Orioles star prospect wins Rookie of the Year, then the Orioles get a draft pick and he gets the service time. Is that correct? Am I right with that thought process?
Yes.
Yeah.
Perfect. One follow-up question, Jerry, then we'll go around the panel here because I know some guys have some other questions. Just enlighten people a little bit on the spring training hitter going into the season. So my dad and I have had a long conversation about this where he felt like he could hit everything sometimes in spring training, and all of a sudden he goes into the season and he's like, what the hell happened? Why can't I hit anything? Can you just give context to people of trying to prepare for a season, but spring training success doesn't necessarily mean or correlate to the regular season and even your own personal experiences? Because you told me before, 15 seasons? Am I wrong with that?
16.
Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry, Jerry.
Doing him dirty. Don't sell him short, Ryan.
Wow.
Go ahead, Jerry.
So your dad, Cal, said, sometimes he had good spring training, sometimes bad, get to the regular season. And your dad's a Hall of Famer. How do you think I felt? Right? You know what? I never thought that spring training numbers didn't really correlate to the regular season. It's a different ballgame. I think you look for flashes and how they look, their swing in spring training, hard contact. I think numbers sometimes in spring training can be overinflated. Sometimes guys are facing a guy that's going to be an A-ball in AA, in AAA. You're not facing that ace. If you do face that ace, it's probably for an inning because he's out of the game in the fourth or fifth inning. So spring training numbers are kind of skewed. Once you get to your season, that's when scouting reports are really used. In spring training, they're not using scouting reports because everybody's trying to get ready for their season. So, young guys in particular can kind of take advantage of spring training, ambush guys, take advantage of that first pitch fastball right down the middle. But once you get into your season and they have a scouting report on you, then you start and you're going to need to make adjustments. You're constantly making adjustments, whether you're the rookie, whether you're in year 3, whether you're in year 10, 12, 15, you're always making adjustments. So that's why I never kind of look at spring training as far as the numbers, because the veteran guys who know they're going to make the team, they're working on things, making sure they're prepared for that long season. Young guys, which they should be doing, they're trying to impress and make sure that, hey, remember me in spring training? I was hitting 450. Well, I'm in AAA right now, hitting about 305 with 5 bombs. Somebody just got hurt. yeah, let's bring this guy up. So it's different for every player, though.
Couldn't have said it better. Rock, I think you got a question involving playing the position of second base.
Yeah, it's kind of a two-parter, but it's Jerry, what's going on, by the way, man? Thanks for joining us. Love the background. It's awesome. It's much better than mine right here. But anyway.
I didn't do this. My sister, my brother Scott's wife and my sister Sarah, they did all this stuff. I didn't do any of that. So
are those Emmys back there too?
Yeah, we don't have to talk about the
yeah. Yeah, you got them all. You got them all. Exactly.
You guys don't know how talented Mr. Jerry Hariston Jr. is, and the more and more you get to know him, you're going to find out. But Rock, go ahead with the question.
Guy does it all. Jerry, do you think the transition for Jackson from short to second base, do you think that had anything to do with that? And after we get your answer here, I do want to ask you about the clock you talked about with the front office and kind of how they view that.
Yeah, first of all, that's a great question. Making that transition from the left side of the infield shortstop, I know Jackson played a little bit of third as well, to turning that double play at second base. Yes, it's a whole new ballgame. The balls come off the bat a little different. And I think that's another reason why they want to make sure they start him out in AAA, to make sure he gets his reps in. A lot of reps there at second base. I think he eventually moved to shortstop or the left side of the infield. And there's another guy, Gunnar Henderson, who I absolutely love. I love Gunnar Henderson. He's one of my favorite players to watch. But back to Jackson, he's a guy that they want to make sure he gets enough reps. That way he is comfortable. Listen, big league game is a lot faster than spring training, a lot faster than AA and AAA. You got to be on. Okay, we talk about scouting reports. There's scouting reports when you're hitting, but there's also scouting reports when you're on defense. You got to be aware of who's hitting, and you got to know where you need to be at certain spots. So I think letting Jackson go down there, play some second base, let him get comfortable, turning that double play with the back to you, as opposed to as a shortstop, you're coming towards the bag and you can see the runner coming at you. Second base, you don't see the guy running at you when you're turning the double play. I know it's a lot different now as opposed to when I played in the 1960s. But it's still a little different.
Yeah, and he did a really good job down there. He made some great defensive plays. People are bringing it up in the chat right now. So he's done great down there, but more reps, I feel like that's never a bad thing. You talked about the clock, though, with how the front office kind of views that. For you, I know you're not a fortune teller, but ideally, when do you think Jackson Holliday will get the call up with him starting in the minor leagues to begin the 2024 season?
Well, you just never know, especially injuries can happen. You hate to say that, but that's just the nature of this business. People get injured. I just think that, if they do feel like the clock is an issue, and if I'm talking about the front office and they don't want to start his clock, and let's say he does get off to a fast start in AAA and is tearing it up, I think the very next day after that clock is over and done with, I think he gets called up. Obviously, the Baltimore Orioles are a very talented team. They're young, energetic. I think they're the team to beat in the AL East. They have to factor that in. I think they are. So if, let's say, the Orioles get off to a little of a slow start and Jackson's tearing it up, they may say, you know what, forget the clock. We need to win some ball games. So there's a lot of different factors. So the thing is, Jackson needs to just go down there, do his thing, take care of business. He's going to have a long career. He's set up great there with a really good organization. And I think, and Ryan, I know we talked about this a couple weeks ago. I think if I'm a Baltimore Orioles fan, I am ecstatic with the new ownership group coming in. And now with this young, energetic team, guys, I'm on the West Coast. And the last year or so, I've really kind of checked in on my app, seeing how the Orioles are playing, because they're just a fun team to watch. And now Jackson's coming along too, along with the Gunnar Hendersons. It's just a great time to be an Oriole fan.
And you know what? We're right. And that's the positive here. Remember this with today's day. And if you don't believe us saying it, at least believe Jerry Hariston Jr. being around. Jerry knows this is, and Jerry, no offense, you went through some dark days in Baltimore where it wasn't great. And you are one that can appreciate and looking at it like, this is a great time. This is a great time for fans, with the new changes coming, with the talent on the team. It's vibes are high in Baltimore, but everyone needs to have a little bit of perspective. Right, Zach? Take a deep breath.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone needs to take a deep breath. It's going to be okay. Jackson Holliday will be up here eventually. But Jerry, first, appreciate you joining us. But talking a little bit different, still spring training, but different player. There was a lot of panic about Corbin Burnes' recent starts in spring training on Orioles Twitter. And of course, people overreact. So me and Rip have talked about how different guys during spring training, their approach is different, whether they're trying to make the team and they're giving it their all, or if they're trying to tweak stuff. How throughout your career did your perspective of spring training, if at all, change, and how it went from, I need to make the team to, okay, am I just making sure my timing's right? Do I have to get extra reps in the field? Like, how did you evolve? And, by the end, was it something just clockwork? You showed up and you're like, I have to get this many at bats. I have to do this, and then I'll be good for the season.
It really varies from player to player.
Mhm.
But I think when you're a veteran guy and you've had success in the big leagues, like a Corbin Burnes, all he's worried about is getting his innings in and making sure that he's got his pitches ready to roll once the opening day starts and once the season gets going. I'll give you an example. I played with a guy named Josh Beckett. Tons of respect for Josh Beckett.
Wow.
Favorite teammates. Incredible pitcher. He's a guy, especially as he moved along in his career, he used spring training to work on things. He'd start an outing and say, you know what, I'm going to work on fastball command. I don't care about my breaking ball. I don't care if I get hit around. I'm working on my fastball command this start. Then the very next start, I'm making sure I'm landing my breaking ball. Then I'm going to make sure if it's 2 strikes, I'm going to make sure it's a chase pitch and I'm not going to throw it for a strike. He would do that throughout his start. He's not worried about a result. He's worried about feel, making sure his pitchers are ready to go when the season starts. A guy like Corbin Burnes, guys, we got a chance to see him when I'm with the Dodgers for many postseasons because he was the Brewers. He's a guy that has nasty stuff. He knows exactly what he's doing on the mound. He's pitched in big games. So his spring training numbers, I wouldn't even bat an eye to. As long as he's healthy, he's an absolute stud, and you want him taking the mound.
Wait, so are you saying that a Cy Young winner, we shouldn't panic that he's doing poorly while he's just working on things during spring training? Because I was told the sky was falling from people.
You guys remember a guy named Harold Baines?
Of course you remember Bainesy. Oh, yeah.
Baines, Hall of Famer. He was besides my dad, he was probably my favorite player on the White Sox growing up as a kid. I ended up playing with Harold Baines. We were teammates when I was with the Orioles. Harold Baines was probably the worst hitter in spring training history. He just couldn't hit in spring training. But Bainesy, we call him Sleep. That was his nickname, meaning he could hit in his sleep. So once the bell rings, he knew exactly what he needed to do to make sure he got his hits. And he's a Hall of Famer. So guys that know and had success throughout their big league career, spring training is just, hey, I'm just going to use it to get ready, and I'll be ready to go when the bell rings.
I thought this was an interesting comment for those that are reading here, saying most of the starters had a lousy looking spring. Hopefully nothing to worry about, light switch for pros, but they turn it on when they need it, which is, to change that tune. But the point being is, as Jerry was alluding to for everyone that's listening, each player, once they've been there for a while, they know what they have to do. And only they really truly know what their routine has to be. And if they go 0 for 100 with 100 Ks, no player wants to do that in spring training. I don't care how talented you are, but as long as you feel like you can turn it on and be ready for the season, because that's where it's going to matter. 162. And the ones that have been there and done that, Bainesy being one of them, it's the same thing. I remember hearing stories too, Jerry, with like Eddie Murray coming down, and Eddie just couldn't hit anything at all. Eddie was like, it was like, is Eddie going to be okay? Well, Eddie's going to be fine. He's going to hit a lot of bombs, and he's going to be one of the best players in Orioles history. I guess we had a lot of Orioles talk here for a second, and thank you for touching on the Corbin Burnes. Corbin Burnes also, they're freaking out, Jerry, about he went 5 innings and gave up 3 earned runs. If Corbin gives 10 to 12 of those starts, giving up 3 earned runs for the year, I think that's going to be pretty damn good, to say the least. But baseball started. Dodgers already started playing out there. Were you up at 3 a.m. or were you over in Seoul, or were you in the States?
I was in the States. We did our pre and post game show from the studio in beautiful Manhattan Beach. Because the games were in Seoul, Korea, at night, we had our pregame show at 2 a.m. and then we went to the game. So It was a couple tough early mornings for us. In fact, the second game, what I did was I went out with my friends, had some friends from London. We went out to dinner, had a good time. It was a late dinner, that LA Hollywood, which I don't really like to do a whole lot, but ended dinner around 12:30, went back to my condo in LA, showered, changed, and went right to the studio. That's how we did our shows in the morning. It was opening day and the first 2 games of the season in Korea. You do what you need to do. And I enjoyed those early mornings, and I'm hoping I don't have to do it for the rest of the year.
Yeah, I think it was a great experience. Awesome. Let's change the schedule and relax a little bit the rest of the way. A couple points from that, because I think 2 things I took away from the actual game. First off, it's very early, and who cares too much in the beginning, but a lot of focus was on Yamamoto. Obviously, his first outing. I have no worry about him long term, but everyone's going, wait a minute. First time in the big leagues, he's given up 5 earned runs, only going 1 inning. What was your kind of perspective on the first time him being out, and just kind of maybe you can just give some context for those that are tuning in of what it means to he's a rookie, despite all of his success, a rookie going out there for the first time, and in this case, in a very unique circumstance, playing over in Korea.
Yeah, it is definitely different for him. Now, he had tremendous success in Japan, 3-time Cy Young Award winner, the SC equivalent over there in Japan. He's still young. He hasn't even entered his prime yet. He's 25 years young. He's got great stuff. The one thing that I've heard from Japanese pitchers is the adjustments they have to make with the baseball. In Japan, it's a little bit smaller baseball, so it's easier for him to grip that split finger fastball, which I think is his best pitch. Now, he hasn't really made the total adjustment yet, just adjusting to these baseballs here in the major leagues. And I think that had an effect on him in the very first start. He couldn't land that split finger. It actually was sitting in the middle of the plate. And guess what, guys? You sit something around 90, 88 miles an hour in the middle of the plate, big league hitters are going to square him up. So Padres took advantage of it. And then after that, he couldn't find the strike zone. When you walk people, give free passes to a good team like the San Diego Padres, really any big league team, and you leave pitches in the middle of the plate, they're going to let you know. So he's going to have to make the adjustment. I think he will. He's just too talented of a pitcher. He works too hard. And once he makes that adjustment, he's going to have success.
I'm with you, but I'm glad you can explain that, because the variation, people like a little thing, the even just how the texture of the ball, a little thing like that, getting used to. Then also, even though the competition he played in his career, it's still one of the best leagues. The big leagues is the big leagues now. Everything is magnified as far as, and we talked about with Grayson Rodriguez in the past, for everyone that's tuning in, by the way, we're with Jerry Hariston Jr. So a guy that knows ball, played for 16 years. Now that I won't mess that up again, Jerry. But he knows being around the game and understanding that it takes time to adjust. Grayson Rodriguez, super talented pitcher for the Baltimore Orioles, throws 100. But if you can't locate your fastball where you need to throw it, or your pitches where you need to throw it, and you give the best hitters in the world an opportunity to go out there and do some damage, they'll make you pay more times than not. And actually, you saw that in that first game. Zach, I think you have a follow-up question.
Yeah, Jerry, actually, it's about a player that me and Ryan rave about a lot. And I will say I'm glad is no longer in the AL East, but Mookie Betts is just, I mean, first off, starts off the season with, what was it, Ryan, 7 RBIs in 2 games?
Yeah.
All while playing a brand new position. You know, we've asked you about playing different positions already, but how hard is it for a guy to constantly be changing positions like he does, and not only continue to hit at the level he does while dealing with that, but he also plays a Gold Glove caliber fielder at any position. So how special is that? And is that something that you think a lot of players could do, or is it just kind of special that he's just that good?
No, he's that good. You know, guys, I talk about Gunnar Henderson for you guys, right? I like to watch on my app when the Orioles are playing, I want to see all his at-bats. I loved Mookie Betts, even when it was with the Red Sox, the dreaded Red Sox. I played for, obviously, the Orioles. I played for the Yankees. So I never was a Red Sox fan. Still, to this day, I'm not a Red Sox fan whatsoever. But I used to watch Mookie Betts because I just loved the way he played the game with the Red Sox. And I was like, man, he's the guy that I wish I would have been. You know what I'm saying? That was my vision when I was 10, 12, 15 years old. I wish I would have been like Mookie Betts. But having him come over to the Dodgers, and I got a chance to see him play every single day. Guys, I've been watching Major League Baseball since I could crawl. Okay, I was born in 1976. In my eyes, Ken Griffey Jr. is probably the best player that I've ever seen in totality. Barry Bonds, probably the best hitter. Tony Gwynn is right up there. There's been so many great players that I've got a chance to see in this game, and I love the history of the game. Mookie Betts is the most skilled baseball player I've ever seen. No disrespect to Willie Mays. I never saw him. No disrespect to Hank Aaron, to Lou Gehrig, anybody that I never saw before. But just watching him play every single day, the way he runs the bases, how intelligent he is, plays right field. He made himself into a right fielder, guys. He was drafted as a shortstop, second baseman. Then he was at second base, but Dustin Pedroia was a second baseman. So he said, I'll go to right field, and now I'm going to be the best right fielder in all of baseball. Incredible defensive right fielder. He comes to second base, and it's like he's Brandon Phillips over there at second base. Brandon Phillips was one of the best second basemen I've ever seen. Now on the fly, hey, Mookie, can you go play shortstop, please? On the fly. Shortstop is a very demanding position. I played with Cal, and Ryan, you know this. Your dad was very methodical. He had to make sure he had his ground ball after ground ball after ground ball, and he had a plan. That was his thing. Plan A, plan B, plan C. He never wanted to be surprised on the baseball field. Your dad told me that. Never be surprised on the baseball field. I want you to be prepared for everything. So when he was asked to go to play shortstop in 2001 by Alex Rodriguez, your dad did not want to go. Why? Because he hadn't done it for years, and he didn't practice there for quite some time.
He wasn't prepared. He wasn't prepared, and it bothered the hell out of him.
It did bother him, okay? So Mookie Betts, on the other hand, he makes sure he's always prepared. He takes ground balls for years at shortstop. And they're like, why are you taking ground balls at shortstop, man? You're a right fielder. Just in case. You never know. And people thought he was crazy. You know. And now he is the opening day shortstop for the Los Angeles Dodgers. And I say, guys, I don't say this lightly. I have the utmost respect for so many great ball players, past and present. For my eyes, my 47-year-old eyes, Mookie Betts, I'm not saying he's the greatest player ever. I'm not saying that. As far as skilled players, he's the best I've ever seen.
He's great at everything. Everything that he does. And actually, Jerry, he's my pick to win the NL MVP. And honestly, if Acuna Jr. didn't steal 73 bags last year, Mookie very well could have been the MVP. He's that good. The Dodgers have that much talent. And unfortunately for Red Sox fans, that hurts. That hurts a lot to see Mookie not only leave, but be just as good as he was. You got a final thought there, Zach?
Well, he also, I just had to look it up to make sure. He also is like a 300 bowler. Like he's just good at everything.
God, he makes me sick, and I tell Mookie, not only is he incredible, he literally could be a pro bowler. He's a pro bowler. Not only that, I've seen video of him. I've seen him work out. He could play in the NBA as a point guard. I'm not making this up. He could be a slot receiver in the NFL. Okay, we played golf together. You know, a couple months ago, he didn't even warm up.
Okay.
Strikes his first drive about 340 yards. And I'm sitting going, are you kidding me right now?
That pissed me off.
Everything. He's that talented.
You know what? God. So Nick Moore, the Ravens long snapper here, Jerry, actually played with Mookie with the Red Sox organization. He started as a baseball player. Then after his career ended, went back to college and now is in the NFL with the Baltimore Ravens. And he just told us all the Mookie stories. And you're just now further showing how great he is. But also as a competitor, I would be so ticked off. Jerry, one more question, and then we'll get you out of here so you can relax and do what you got to do. But Kevin, who you haven't met yet, has one more question to kind of ask you about kind of where the game is going currently.
Yeah, Jerry, good to meet you. Glad you're able to come on with us, talk some baseball. But the game has changed a ton, obviously, ever since you stopped playing. Obviously, the big one's the pitch clock and the runner at second and extra innings. But I think the MLB now enforcing a little bit more of the obstruction rule around the bases and everything that's gone on since you've stopped playing. Can you kind of talk about how much the game has actually changed? And if you were still playing today, would those rule changes just be like, I can deal with them? Or are there a couple that you're just like, I wouldn't want to deal with that if I was still playing in the league today?
Yeah, I think the taking out the second baseman. I've always hated that. They call it the Chase Utley rule. I think it just takes away from the athleticism of the middle infielders. I hated that rule. You have to be creative around the bag. I think that was the beauty of turning a double play. That's what fans love seeing. Now you have the second baseman literally just standing on the bag and just turning, and there's no action there. And I know it's for health reasons. I get it, and you want to protect the player, but man, I hate that rule. And then obviously the play at the plate. It's a rule, then it's not a rule. Sometimes you can run over the catcher, sometimes you can't. It's just a mess. You see games, stopped because of play, because guys don't even know what to do. If you run over the catcher, you're out. But sometimes you run over the catcher, it's almost like a judgment thing. So I wish they would do away with that. The catchers are the ones that have the gear on, and they're protecting them. That's what's crazy to me,
Right.
So those are the two rules. Now, I will say this. The pitch clock, I was totally against. At the start of it, I was totally against. I go, how is this going to look? Now that it's in play, and I've seen it, I actually like it, guys. I really do. It picks up the pace a whole lot. And now as a player, and talking to players, now they actually like it, because when you're on defense, you're ready to go. I hated when pitchers would hold the ball, take forever, and then I'm in at second base or at center field, like, bro, throw the ball. You know what I'm saying? Because we're ready to go. So I love the pitch clock. I didn't think I would like it. But I know they're doing the obstruction now, sliding at second base and third base. I'm going to hold off on that. I want to see how it plays out during the regular season. But those are the three. The pitch clock I really like. And the ones that the Chase Utley rule at second and the Buster Posey rule at the plate, I hate that. I wish they would abolish that and just let those guys play, man.
There was an art to that. I think that was the part. There was an art that was what made the game. People saying baseball's not physical. That definitely made it physical, but it put pressure on the defense that you had to make a good throw to. If you're trying to turn two, you got to get out of the way. There was an art to it, and I think that's what I think you and I can appreciate, Jerry, is the art of baseball that you had to do. And if you were going to be in a bad situation, you're going to have to wear it, and that's just the way the game was played. So we'll see what happens. But Jerry, I'll let you get out of here. I promise I will bother you more in the future. But I appreciate you coming on. We'll talk more about your Emmys. We'll talk more about the game because you are just a wealth of knowledge. But we really appreciate you taking the time.
Thanks for having me, guys. And Ryan, I don't know if you guys can see this up top there.
Oh, wait a minute.
We got the there we go.
Yes.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
He made the wall. He made the wall.
Absolutely.
Oh, goodness.
Made the wall. He signed it for me years ago. So it's definitely going to stay up there. You guys have a tremendous show. And I'm telling you guys, your format, the way you guys are doing it, you guys are going to leapfrog so many different people in this space. You guys are very knowledgeable about the game. You care about the game. You're passionate. I love your show. And don't forget me when you guys make it big. Okay.
Well, Jerry, you're gonna be a part of it. So whether you like it or not. Also, by the way, and maybe you knew this or not, but I was talking to my dad as I said we were doing this today, and he goes, you know what? He goes, I hate at the time that I was getting towards the end of my career, but he goes, actually, Jerry coming up is one of the best guys we had in the infield, and talent wise. And he goes, I wish it could have been during better circumstances towards the end of his career, but. Jerry, we appreciate you. I'll check back in so we can get you back on, but enjoy the rest of your day and get some rest. Everyone, yeah. Jerry Hariston Jr.
Thanks, Jerry.
Thanks, Jerry.
Kevin, why'd you stop clapping?
You didn't even put the camera on me.
What a guy.
Guys.
That was awesome.
Yeah, and that's why I wanted to bring him on. And truly, my dad talks about Jerry's preparation, his ability, and his ability to play the position at second base is truly awesome. And so for those just tuned in, Jerry Hariston Jr., former 16-year MLB veteran. And you don't hear that a lot anymore, guys, playing 16 seasons as a position player. Now he does analyst work for the Los Angeles Dodgers, and he's going to be a regular coming on the Ryan Ripken Show. And it's cool. We appreciate even the feedback, guys. But the reason why I think this show's working is not because of what we're doing, definitely not what Rocco and I are doing or Zach or Kevin. It's really because of the community that we're building of people that enjoy talking about what we're talking about. That's what makes the action, right? So if you're new to this channel, hit that like and subscribe button for us, the Ryan Ripken Show, or this is the Ryan Ripken Media channel. We're doing this every Monday and Thursday. we're going to add in another day. It's probably going to be Sunday. And when there's special news, like right now, why we did this stream, Jackson Holliday has officially been reassigned to minor league camp. We will hop on here to just talk about the situation. And I think if you guys don't mind, do we have the actual quote, the recent quote that was just put out, Zach or Rocco or somebody? Kevin?
Well, Mike Elias, I just have Rock tweet here. He said, Mike Elias said Jackson Holliday is way, way ahead of the curve, cited lack of experience for his quality left-handed pitchers in the majors and AAA, and mentioned the O's will see many of those early in the season. Also talked about the position change, said no to whether service time was a factor.
Okay, so they are saying no service time. Go ahead, Rock.
To add to that, this is big thing people are keeping their eye out on too, is the starting rotation. Rock Kabako tweeted that Elias is also hopeful that Bradish and Means can return early in the first half. So that's positive. It's great. That's something we were unsure of what the timeline would look like for both guys. Probably Bradish more than Means with the UCL, and Means just having the flare up and being like a month behind schedule. But that's something positive we can take out of today. Am I right? Am I right?
Yeah, we can be positive. We can, and I think, I don't know. I try to be more positive. I was very hard on myself as a player, but now that I'm not playing anymore, I'm just thinking about trying to be as objective and relaxed as we can. There's so many good things going on with the Baltimore Orioles. Yeah. There's so many positives that are happening here.
There are.
What else can we be mad about?
No,
is that a baseball question?
Okay, actually, something I do want to bring up. Mike Elias did also say, and this is, I guess, not breaking, but good news, is they still expect John Means and Kyle Bradish to be back, and he said early in the first half.
Did I just not say that, Zach?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I was trying to look.
Not say that.
He did just.
That makes up
Zach,
for him.
Zach, that is so informative. I haven't heard that before.
Thank you. It makes up for him stealing my question word for word like 20 minutes ago.
You guys are,
which is not the first time that's happened.
What was the question I stole?
Oh, no, it was actually really funny. I was asking Ryan, I was like, Ryan, it really feels like even if Jackson Holliday hit like 15 home runs and all this stuff, and then like 10 minutes later, I will say you weren't on it, but like your first question was like, and you gave the exact same stat. You're like, let's just say he hits 1,000 and hits 15 home runs. And I was like, I literally looked at Ryan. I was like, what is this kid doing?
I'm sorry, man. It's not the first time. Probably won't be the last time. I don't mean to do it. Just, it happens.
Thank you. Yeah, Tori, I'm just over here breaking news.
Yeah, exactly. But
I was trying to find the tweet of him saying that, and I was just in complete tunnel vision. And I was like, okay,
no, you're fine.
Talking.
I've been
it's
there.
Time for me to.
It's the ADD we both have, man. It's completely
Yeah.
fine. But that's like there are still, regardless of whether or not Jackson Holliday made the opening day roster. Yeah, for the fan base, it sucks because people wanted to see him on opening day. It was a lot of people were looking forward to that, but there is still a lot of positive to look at with this team coming off 101 wins, winning the AL East, and they're just looking to build off that. So regardless of who's on that opening day roster, try to find a way, Birdland, to stay positive. Enjoy opening day. Don't let this spoil your experience. Jackson Holliday will be up in due time, and playing at Camden
You still
Yards.
have Corbin Burnes.
And you
There's so much. And to give you guys my schedule for that, well, Rocco, you and I may or may not be doing something earlier. Stay tuned for that. But a lot of positives. We got a lot of positives. It's going to be buzzing down there. I know personally 105.7 from 1 to 3 p.m. up until, the game time. I will be doing the pregame show with Mike Bordick on 105.7 The Fan. That should be a lot of fun with Bob Haney conducting it all for us. Will I be having a good time and enjoying myself with the great people of Baltimore? You're damn right. So if you're around, get into Pickles, come say hello. It's a celebration. Opening day, honestly, is that one game of the year where everyone, besides obviously you get later in the season, but it's that one moment that it's like the celebration that baseball is really back and you can feel it. It is just a way different energy and there's so much hope. So that's going to be so much fun for everyone. And Bordy, it's so weird. Another guy that my dad played with, and all of a sudden now we're doing more and more stuff together, and it's just a treat. We might have too much fun. So come enjoy the fun with us while we're down there at Pickles Pub on Thursday. Hopefully, and you know what? Speaking into existence, weather's going to be beautiful. Weather's going to be great. It's gonna blow over just like it did last year. But we're not going to postpone the game.
God, last year. Oh my God, can we talk about that real quick? That was
crazy.
hilarious last year because I had friends come in town for the game and they got in on Wednesday night at like 1 a.m. Then we wake up because on Wednesday it was postponed. So it was like the day before, they didn't even let people there. Like, it's going to be postponed. They get in, they're like, well, I guess we'll just, chill. It's going to be shady tomorrow. We wake up and it is gorgeous. And we were like, oh, the rain must be coming in the afternoon. It did not. The rain came the next day.
Yeah, it didn't come at all. You know what? Sean just asked a question, by the way. Do we get a breakdown today? Do I mess around?
Do we have the Colton one ready?
I think you have something.
Do I mess around and just talk about Colton Cowser for a little bit, about his spring training success and just looking at last year's a little bit?
Well, might as well.
Now you said
You
it. So
should,
yeah,
but
you have to.
I gotta go. So you do that. Enjoy it.
Thank goodness. Rocco.
wow.
Did his phone just go off while he was saying that he has to go?
Yeah.
Can we put Rocco back on the screen and hear his phone call?
Yeah. You know what? No one needs that. But we got a bigger screen. But Rocco's a good kid. We appreciate him. And you know what? He's got to do his work, his job. And we're going to actually have more with Rocco in the future, as he is a part of this show here.
Yeah, I was going to say, I hope we would have. We're going to do more work with Rocco in the future. He'll be here Monday.
I don't know, Jim. We do have a lot of special things coming. We do have a lot of specials coming next week, by the way. And keep in mind, I think we're going to do a big Wednesday show.
Mm-hmm.
So put that on your calendar. Wednesday show, opening day preview, because Thursday is just going to be too naughty beforehand.
Yeah.
Just a lot going on. Things are going everywhere. And Navy Bugler, I guess I'd like to say. Maybe I'm pronouncing that wrong. Hey, Rip, is there any way that you can get your show broadcast over the radio waves down here in Southern Maryland? We're trying to push it out there more and more.
Yeah,
we are. And if you know somebody that knows somebody, you let me know.
We should buy a radio station.
Oh, yes.
You know what, Kevin? That's great. Can I use
I will contribute $3.
Perfect.
I will match that.
Wow.
I think we'll get about 1 second of airtime, which would be perfect. But in all seriousness, we do this and we'll put this on the audio version on podcast platforms. So if you can't watch us, we will put this conversation on podcast, Spotify, Apple, when all this is said and done. So we will do that. And I see a lot of people talking about projected lineups, what's going to happen. We're going to actually save that for Monday when everything else comes out here, because there's just so much talk going on. And I believe the Angels said that there was a lefty starting on the mound, if I'm not mistaken. So we're going to have a lot of that. We're going to have our first season Know Your Foe, and we break down the Angels coming to town. Obviously, they have still one of the best players in the world.
Greatest of all time.
Well, that's
my opinion.
That's your opinion.
That's true.
And he is one hell of a player. But should I mess around and just do a little Colton Cowser
I think
breakdown?
we do it.
Yeah.
I think we do it. Kevin's Corner.
Kevin's Corner. Here we go.
Wow. All right. Impromptu Kevin's Corner. Well, I don't think, with all the Orioles stuff going on, I'm not sure we should talk about the Ravens today. I think we should keep it Orioles focused. So I have the quote, and I think Jake, who put this out? Someone put it out, but it was about Elias talking about the decision to put Holliday in the minors, and said that was about completing his development. That was a phrase he used, completing his development. And in terms of him being way ahead of the curve, I mean, he is. And the fact that he was able to put together such an impressive spring training, especially down the stretch, is I think what makes this so frustrating for people, because now out of the players who could take that spot, either being Colton Wong or Urias or one of those players, obviously, I think at this point, Holliday would make more of an impact. But then he obviously, even though Mike Elias said no, service time is not a factor in this whole situation. We've seen this dance a lot where, again, it's such a fine line that you have here. But with Holliday, you know that he could probably come in and contribute right away. But then what is the development that needs to happen? Again, the lack of left-handed pitchers is kind of what Mike Elias is citing here. So, I mean, I get it. But at the same time, I don't think there was any harm in putting him on the roster and just saying, look, it's just a matter of him playing through the mistakes, I guess, down at AAA and kind of figuring that out. But you can't keep him down there for more than, 2 months, probably? More than a month, probably? I think that would kind of be pushing it. So, in my opinion, I don't know what the actual timeline is of him coming up right now. But even if it's like, I don't know, was it Maton?
Yes.
Yeah, he could be someone that also takes that spot. But I think out of all the players who were still there, Holiday's the guy who everyone, just him, that crowd pop of him running down the orange carpet after making the opening
It
roster
would have been unreal.
would have been electric.
Would have fed families. But
you still got the Corbin Burnes crowd pop.
Yeah,
you
that's
got
what
the
I'm
Abbey
saying.
crowd pop.
You know, there's still so much to look forward to on opening day. And I understand we're all disappointed about Holiday, knee-jerk reaction, stupid, dumb, all 9 yards. But at the end of the day, he's going to be here. Like we said, it's going to take short amount of time. He's going to get a few more things done. Just enjoy the moment still. I mean, like, this is Corbin Burnes opening day starter for the Orioles. Yes, it sucks. Like I just said, that Holiday's not here, but we used to think about this, dream of when the Orioles would go and get that number one guy, and he comes out in opening day, and there's something to look forward to. We just go and we got that ace. So it's still time to celebrate. I mean, it's going to be a magical season. I truly believe that. So, it sucks. Holiday's not on the team to start. Mayo's not on the team to start. Kersted's not on the team to start. But we have a lot of young talent. Gunnar Henderson is playing baseball, and as long as Gunnar Henderson is on the field, it is must-see television at all times.
Do you think this changes anything with McKenna for you? Do you think he now makes it even? Because, he's out of options, so.
No. I don't think so. I just don't think that he impacted, like Holiday and him impacted each other. I think Maton is probably going to be the second baseman. Not second baseman. He's going to be that guy that they select to kind of be there. I think they're running with the outfield of Santander, Mullins, Hayes, and then Cowser's going to be the fourth. And then you have a utility right-handed. They've absolutely love Jorge Mateo in the outfield right now.
Yeah.
And his range there. So I think that's another thing where he's going to play that fifth outfield, sixth infield spot. Then, because Urias is going to obviously, I think he's a lock on the team. Obviously, we know Mateo's on the team. I just don't see a way Ryan McKenna makes it.
Yeah. I don't know. Now you have Gunnar, obviously, who's going to be playing a bunch of short this year. And then, I don't know, who's your opening day infield?
Okay, so Versa lefty. So let's think about this. Versa lefty. I'm going to assume they go, because they said Gunnar is going to be playing short mostly.
Right.
If they had not said that, I would say Jorge Mateo at short. But I'm going to probably say they roll with something along the lines of Gunnar at short, Ramon Urias at third, and Jordan Westberg at second base.
Yeah, that's mine too.
With Versa left, with Ryan Mountcastle at first base.
Yeah. And then who is it? O'Hearn DHing or who?
No, Versa lefty. Versa lefty, this is where I'm going to get bold. I'm going to say Santander DHs and Colton Cowser is in right.
Oh, okay.
I think they're okay with Cowser getting lefty at bats. Ryan, we looking good? Yeah, put it over to Kevin. I can help with the.
Oh. Okay.
More Kevin's corner. We are
Okay,
almost.
all right, more.
We are almost situated.
More Kevin's corner. So, and then we got the news also. We kind of talked about it earlier in the show, but it wasn't just Jackson Holliday. We got the news on, obviously, it was Heston Kjerstad as well. You also got Kobe Mayo getting option down. And then I think, with those guys, it's interesting. Obviously, Stowers is in that conversation, dude, because the Orioles were so young and they have so much talent where you're Stowers or you're Kjerstad and you think, okay, on how many different teams would those guys have made the opening day roster? I mean,
so many,
literally probably 20 at the absolute minimum. Like you could go out and argue that they'd make probably more than half of the league's roster, but because the Orioles are so deep, that gives them more time to develop. And again, we talked about it with Mayo in terms of them having all these corner players, guys who can play at first and third. And I don't know. For me, it just feels like those guys aren't going to be down there for long, but we also have to factor in the injury thing as well, where for a Holiday, what if Urias gets injured early in the season? What if a guy like Mateo doesn't bust out of the slump he had at the back half of the year last year? He's not playing well enough in the outfield. Those are all decisions, but I think the frustration for fans is, okay, Holiday is one of your 26 best players. Why not put one of your 26 best players on the roster? So I think that's where the frustration comes in. But Elias has done this. Adley didn't start the year he got called up. Obviously, he got called up in the middle of the year. Gunnar got called up in the middle of the year as well. This is not going to change with Jackson. I wish it did personally. For me, this was not the decision I would have made. But At this point, all we can do, unfortunately, is talk about it and try to understand the why. And I mean, Mike Elias literally put out the quote and talked about it. But to me, I just feel like I would rather have him play and work through some of the mistakes at the major league level as opposed to him going down. And I guess it does come down to playing time too. I mean, personally, I'm starting Jackson over Ramon Urias 10 times out of 10. You know, you can put Westberg at third, Holliday obviously making the transition over to second. I think it just makes sense. But I don't know, just the team didn't see it that way. And that's, I think, what's frustrating for a lot of people right now. So I don't know. I also think in terms of trading guys, I wouldn't personally view them trading for a guy right now. I get they have a ton of depth, but these guys still have time. They have a lot of time to figure it out at the minor league level and also figure out how to just go and be ready for the major leagues. But I think Holliday to me is someone who is ready, and that to me is, I think, was frustrating. Are we?
I think
we're good to go?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
You can hear me. Okay. Here we go. All right, we're going to move over for a second. Mute those for a minute. Don't mute that one. Can you guys hear me okay? Can you see me okay? Well, I know it's a little bit sounding differently as far as what's going on, and I'm looking a little bit more dressed up because I actually was coming from some meetings earlier. But why not look good while we talk about a player that is really stealing the hearts of fans in Baltimore, whether they like his name and they do the move for Cowser or he's signing for fans after games. Colton Cowser is one of those intriguing prospects that everyone is super excited about, and for a lot of reasons. He's one of the top prospects in all of baseball. He has tremendous potential, and unfortunately, so far, it hasn't all come together. But again, it was limited opportunity. But he has come into spring training in 2024, proving a point that he is ready and hopefully has learned a lot from last year. And a lot of it is just experience and getting used to it. And let me explain on this little bit of journey of Colton Cowser over this last year and some highlights from spring training of just personally just the context. I don't think there's a ton we're going to get into about his specific swing, but just to give you an idea of what he had to go through and then what he does really well, why I think he's in line to have a really big 2024. All right, so that's Colton Cowser without a beard. As anyone has seen, he's got the big old beard down in spring training right now. All right, this was his first big league hit last year. I think this started the rally, or sorry, when I wanted to bring this up, this was a moment here that got the Orioles right back in the game. 2-0 game, top of the sixth, 1-2 count, and this is against a lefty. And this is something that Colton actually does very well. He battles, he grinds. This pitch, it's going to be a slider going away from him, and Colton stays on it just enough that he's going to get his first big league hit, first RBI, all in one. And right there, stays up enough, get the bat head to it, single, Orioles are in motion. They actually come back and win this game. That was the catalyst moment, and Colton Cowser was a big part of that right there, okay? That's number one. Here's just another example, two-strike hitting. They're trying to go up with a fastball to Colton Cowser. And again, this is the dynamic of his game. He's got a tremendous bat. He has tremendous skills. And when he's feeling good, he can drive baseballs like he does right here. Middle in. That ball is torched. Really swinging the bat well. Right there, he's feeling good. And unfortunately, in the big leagues last year for him, he didn't have all these moments to get going. But again, you're going to see another 2-2 count, breaking ball away. He stays on the baseball. So he has all the tools right there. You're seeing hit a pitch inside, stay on a breaking ball away from a lefty on the next pitch, and then a backdoor breaking ball well off the plate. As you can see the box right here, he's able to stay on it and drive the ball to left center. Again, that's just being a good hitter. Now, the numbers don't necessarily reflect what happened for Colton Cowser last year, okay? So this is the example I wanted to give you guys. He had 61 at-bats on the season last year. And I did this with Kyle Stowers. And you guys might think that this isn't important, but this actually means a lot, especially for a player that wants to get in rhythm, especially a guy that is coming up to the big leagues and trying to find out more about themselves and especially expecting to have success. But it's hard when you're not in there every day. He got consecutive days through the 5th to the 9th, but then you see that wide gap from the 9th to the 15th. And to me, that's where things started to kind of fall off. And during this span, I believe he was 3 for 16, okay? So that means the rest of the way, he had 7 hits and 61 at-bats. He was 4 for his next 45. And this big break of time, I think, drastically played into it because I think that him being a little bit more aggressive and being a little bit more himself. He didn't necessarily feel as comfortable. And again, when you have such a talented team that the Orioles have with Cedric and Tony Taters and Hayes, all those guys, when they're healthy, they got to get their at-bats. So it's where do you fit in? And last year, Cowser was the guy trying to fit in. Okay, so as we keep moving forward in this little demonstration, here's Cowser right here. And I want to bring this up. 2-0 count, facing the Dodgers, man on third base, less than 2 outs. Your goal, what do you want to do? You just want to get him in. Find a way to get him in. And this is a hitter's count. Usually you can be more aggressive. I know some pitchers sometimes maybe they want to throw an off-speed pitch because they have a base open. But especially in this situation, you're thinking dead red. You're thinking fastball, and you want to try to let it go. To me, Colton just seems like he was more in take mode, trying to maybe spark a rally by maybe drawing a walk. But in this case, he takes a very hittable fastball right middle of the plate. And that's a pitch he likes to hit, right? So now it's 2-1. Now Grove is going to be in a position to throw him a little bit off guard because now he's going to throw a cutter in, and this ball is going to move, and that's that slight sense of speed being taken off. It's going to cause Colton to be off timing, and he's going to swing right over it, all right? So now you're in a situation where you took a pitch you really could drive. Now you're in a 3-2 count. Now you have to be a little bit more protective. And in this case, it's going to be a borderline pitch at the bottom of the zone. And Colton's going to take it for strike 3. And yes, borderline could have been called a ball, but really too close to take when you're looking at an umpire that is ready to ring you up. He rings up Cowser here. So that's just an example of you. He was in a position, 2-0 count, to do some damage, and he just seemed a little bit more hesitant. But again, that's harder when you're thrown out of rhythm. Next at bat that I'm going to show you here, 2-0 count. Now, Garrett Cole, obviously, is injured for the New York Yankees, but a healthy Garrett Cole is one of the best pitchers in the game, won the Cy Young last year. Again, electric pitcher. 2-0 count, though, you want to be extremely aggressive. You want to try to take advantage of it in these circumstances. So right there, I love the fact that he was more aggressive there. That's a really hard pitch to hit. Colton pulls off the baseball a little bit. But again, I take this in when he's in hitter's counts, is not taking advantage of hopefully opportunities for him to drive the baseball. Because now, once the first pitch gets a 2-1, now Garrett Cole's going to have some fun. He's going to get a call and a changeup below. And you just find yourself where the ball just doesn't go your way. And for a lot of these cases, Colton Cowser had some borderline pitches that didn't go his way. Now you're in a 2-2 count. Now you feel like the zone's going to be expanded because he called one low. Now you feel like you're going to have to swing at this fastball out here. He swings at this fastball out here. He's going down. That stinks. Now, again, I believe in Colton Cowser's ability. I think Colton Cowser is going to have a massive year. And let's go to these moments to show you he can play in big moments. And also what we've seen in spring training. But this was a big moment last year. Now against current closer for the Baltimore Orioles, Craig Kimbrell, 9th inning. And this is what I love to see with Colton. This is what he's capable of doing. And yes, this isn't a ton, but all he has to do in this situation, get the runner in from third base, 2 strikes, slider on the back door. Instead of trying to do too much, Colton gets the ball in the air. It turns into be an extra base hit for him on the dive, but that's going to score the one run regardless of it. Colton Cowser coming up in a big way, and that's going to be a theme here down the stretch. And that's a part of someone's game, by the way. You can't sometimes quantify if a guy can be clutch. You have to be able to be calm, cool, and collected. Cowser's demeanor is very calm. Yes, people say he's really goofy. Well, on the baseball field, he is a guy that when the moment rises, he doesn't seem like he's afraid at all. When I've seen him have struggles, it's not because his talent isn't there. I think it's just because he was thrown out of rhythm, and you're a rookie trying to join the best team in the bigs and trying to figure out your role. Imagine you're being promoted and you're in a different role with different people. Yeah, you might know them, but now they expect you to do all these things while you're still trying to figure out how to beat the best pitchers in the world when you're not able to get your proper reps every day, okay? So here's the spring training one, 0-2 count. This is what I love. Lefty, doesn't matter. Colton Cowser, pitch inside, and this ball is hit a mile. Okay? That's what I love with Colton Cowser. You're seeing the ability, down with 2 strikes, lefty, righty, it doesn't matter. He's going to make an impact. Here's a righty. This was the first game of spring training, and Colton Cowser hits the home run. Yes, the wind might have helped blow it out to left center. Definitely the wind favors hitters out there, especially on the first few days of spring training. But Cowser, again, big moment. And yes, it is spring training, but this was the Cowser that I saw watching him in the minors last year. And this is the Cowser that I saw glimpses of his at-bats in 2023 in the big leagues. And this is what he's capable of doing. Now, This one right here, game on the line. This was the championship in AAA last year. 2-1 count, 2 outs, bases loaded, 0-2. This might be the final shot for this team, for this Tides team, really. Big shot. Now, obviously, you never know with 2 innings to go, but 0-2 count against the lefty, and Cowser hits this ball a mile. And I think what I love with Cowser's game is I showed you early on, he can hit the ball anywhere. He's got power anywhere. And this one, especially the ball flies in Vegas. Well, this ball flew, and it flew well out of the yard. So, I mean, that's an absolute bomb. That's a big moment of the game. They go on to win the game. They are AAA champions, Colton Cowser being the reason behind it. So what we're seeing, we talked about each spring training matters differently to players. Colton Cowser was ready to rewrite last year because he had a tremendous AAA, but unfortunately, it didn't have the success at the big league level that he hoped to have. Well, all he's done is proven the fact that he was ready to be in the big leagues. And I think for a lot of the guys, I think the hardest step for players right now is once you get to the big leagues, once you get up there, how do you fit in? And everyone in the minor leagues are if you're a high prospect, you're the guy, you're the dude. But when you're in the big leagues, you got to figure out how to be one of the guys to then fit in with this team. And you have to be comfortable with whatever the situation is going to be. And for Cowser, it was be ready to play maybe a few days in a row, or hey, we might not need you for a week. That's the reality. And Hyde does a great job of that, of trying to get guys in. But baseball players are creatures of habit. You get more reps, you're able to get in there, you're going to have success. But regardless, it's a business. You got to find ways. I think Colton learned a valuable lesson in 23. And I think there's a reason why the Orioles don't want to give him up, because in my mind, watching him, he's a guy that is going to be a future star for the Orioles. And I think you can count on him having a big 2024 season in the purple and black. Sorry, not purple and black. Oh, I'm getting my teams mixed up. The orange and black in Baltimore. And I can't wait to see what he has in store. Now back to Kevin's Corner.
Hello. Oh, there we go. I wonder what position Colton Cowser would play in football for the Ravens. I wonder what he would be. Probably wide receiver. Maybe. Probably wide receiver. I don't know. But we talked about baseball for a while. Another great breakdown from Ryan there. And I think Cowser is on his way. I think he's all but a lock for the team at this point. But let's switch gears for a little bit. Not Ravens. Let's talk about March Madness a little bit. Let's check in on that. I want to hold a moment of silence for Brad really quickly. Brad, who is not on the show today, he unfortunately picked Kentucky to win the whole tournament. And as we now know, that did not go very well. Now I have UConn. You know, whoever's listening, whoever's watching, if you want to put in the chat who you have in your Final Four, who you have winning, how your bracket's doing. Is your bracket busted? My bracket's doing okay. My Final Four, I have Connecticut, UNC, Houston, and Gonzaga. So all of them haven't won. I mean, Kentucky right now is winning by, what's the score now? 46-13. And the first half isn't over yet. I picked UAB to beat San Diego State, and that did not happen. Oh, I see. Oh, geez. I see Cube had Kentucky as well. Oh, man. We'll hold a moment of silence for Cube, too. Didn't work out.
Can't trust Calipari in March.
No.
Just can't.
I see Will saying he has Purdue. I had Purdue last year, Will, and you know how that went for me. It did not go well, so I could not trust Purdue again this year. But I'm doing decent. I think in the March Madness bracket that we have. How am I doing? I'm in 19th place right now.
Hey, and you know
That's
what,
not
by the
bad.
way, it's not bad,
Not
Kevin.
bad.
And I want to shout out to people that are in our March Madness. We're going to update that on social media as well on the show. I think after the first round, because there's so many moving parts, but we got a lot of entries. I think for us, we were over 100 entries. I think we were towards 130 entries total, which is great. The winner gets a $200 gift card to the Iron Rooster. So I'm super excited. Hopefully it's me. Just kidding. I did have Kentucky winning some games, but not going too deep. Let us know if you guys are in our bracket with us, by the way, because we want to, again, we're building the community here. We're building something that we think is going to be a lot of fun. And I know that we had Raven Lunatics comment on here. The Terps got me down. Hey, the women's team, they're I think they're dancing tonight, right? They haven't played yet today.
I think so.
I believe that they're playing tonight. I didn't want to say it too early, but I'm pretty sure the women's team is playing tonight. I got ties with the Buffs. My sister works out there for CU, so the men's team is playing, and the women's team. The women's team is playing over in Manhattan, Kansas, in that bracket. They're the 5 seed, I believe, playing Drake tonight. So basketball's so much fun, and also everything. This is a great time of year. March Madness right into opening day. Like, it really is this wave of emotions that I think is a lot of fun. And yeah, a lot of good kids out there. I wanted to touch on one thing real quickly. And this comment here, actually, when I was breaking down Cowser is a much better hitter when the bat is quiet behind his head. This is actually a great talking point, and maybe I'll add this into the breakdown. So, hey, round of applause for that question, by the way, because I think
good question.
Great question.
or not even question, statement. And I love that statement. Brindlerio, tomato. Great statement. And here's the reason why. If I can talk about this, I'm going to move over here for a minute. He's right. When you're moving so much, when I tell people when they're trying to get ready to swing, everyone has a certain firing position that they need to go from. Okay. So when you're going to go swing, if you are moving your hands so much and your body's going forward and your hands still have to get to that firing spot, you can be just out of sync by that much. But if you watch some of the best hitters, Ronald Acuna Jr., I was watching him pretty closely. He'll just have the bat up like this, and he'll like maybe slightly move. But limited movement for usual guys is usually what they want to do, because it allows them then to be in that spot when they're ready to go forward and swing, right? So for Cowser, it's a great thing for him to get rhythm with his swing, but being able to be more calm, so when the time comes, he doesn't have to be always more perfect with his timing when he's about to go forward. That definitely helps. Personally, as a hitter, for me, the more calm I was with my hands being back and not moving around too much, I ultimately had more success. Not as good a success as the guys that I just mentioned, not even close. But Cowser, dude's a dude. And there's a reason why the Orioles took him that early, and there's a reason why they don't want to give him up. And we brought up with Cease, and people were saying, oh, the Orioles, if the White Sox should have gotten Cowser, the damn right in my mind, then Cease would have been an Oriole. But I think that the Orioles have big plans for Colton Cowser in the future. And yes, Brad is in the house, by the way. Where is Brad? I just saw him up here.
Brad has a poll up.
Oh, he
does? He wants us to read the poll. So he has best board game of all time. We have 36 votes so far. The winner right now is Monopoly with 69, nice percent. Then you have Sorry coming in at 19%. Candyland has 8%, and Life has 3%. And Zach you want to put the camera?
Oh my God. I just lost the first half under the UConn game. I had under 70 and a half. He just hit a 2-pointer with as time expired to hit 71 on the
Zach threw his phone. Threw the phone on the couch.
Are we gonna
Oh, there the hat goes.
That's wild. That's crazy.
See, and that's, I guess, why Zach wears it. I think we've seen you without a hat on and groomed together. You look good, man.
Once I get my hair cut, I'll be hatless again.
But also the board games, Monopoly, when I was playing summer ball, we would actually play for money for Monopoly. We'd even put $50 in for the game, and whoever won would win. First and second got money. And we put money down on fake money with Monopoly. It was electric. I love Monopoly.
My strategy is to buy every single property.
Really, Kevin? I think that's what everyone wants to do.
No. Some people I play with skip over properties, and I'm like, give me all the properties. I want every property.
I mean, I always buy my properties. I don't, unless it's really
unless I can't afford it. But I mean, every property I land on, I buy it, and then I'm ruthless in Monopoly. I once came back I had $1 single left, and I came back and won the game.
Who were you playing against, Zach?
Yeah,
probably. I hate Monopoly.
Oh,
I don't think I've ever it's so fun the first 45 minutes, and then it gets to the point where you either have you get to a point where you have to commit to playing the whole game, or you catch the vibe of the room and you're like, okay, I guess this is over. You know what I mean with Monopoly?
Yeah.
If you're not going to be fully in it, I've had some great Monopoly games, but then there's also you get to the point where if it goes on for too long, you're like, why did we do this?
I mean, it takes a while. One that I don't know if does this count as I'm probably gonna get blamed for this. Does Mancala count as a board game?
What?
Mancala. Does that count as a board game? Because it technically has a board that you put the marbles in. Or Othello, is that a board game?
Kevin.
Are they?
Kevin,
Do you know what those games are?
You know what? The fact that I can't even think of it, I don't think
Mankawa is
is
the one where you put the marbles and however many marbles is you try to move them into your.
That's not a board game, Kevin.
But it is a board, and then Othello's the one where you flip the black and white pieces.
Well, you ever played cribbage?
No.
Okay, yeah, that was way over here. Cribbage is a card game you play, and you use pegs. Then, if you have a peg, it's for a pegging board. Then to try to get around the board. But I don't consider cribbage a board game. I consider it a card game.
Yeah.
Oh, Kevin, you're a good kid.
We could do card games too. War, Go Fish, Blackjack. There are a bunch of card games we could talk about too.
You're a good kid. I think we can save that for another day with all of this, just because we've been on here for a while. Hey, if you're new to the channel, by the way, hit that like and subscribe button. Now we got a lot of new faces, and we hope you stay around here doing this for a while. We got a lot of people viewing this stream today, by the way, which we greatly appreciate. I know people are not happy. And Orioles bird watcher, we see you tuning in. And he's saying I'm late, so I have no idea what the story is, but I thought Holliday could wait a couple weeks. We stand to face a lot of left-handed pitching, and I want to see Mayo get a shot. Well, unfortunately, though, Mayo will not be on the roster to start off. He will be at some point. I still am a big Ramon Arias fan. I know that a lot of people don't feel that same way. Gold Glover, can play multiple positions, versatility matters, and he understands his role. All those things has a very solidified big leaguer that's not going to have as many growing pains, so to speak. And I know people are saying, wait a minute, right? Well, every team, you got to have guys like Ramon Arias. You really do. You got to, and eventually these prospects are going to be ready, and they might already be ready. But this Orioles team, there is so much going on. And Ramon's also my former teammate as well. So seeing him grind through, and he went through that grind. I remember they weren't even sure if they're going to have him up in the bigs. He went back down to AAA where I was, and he was trying to figure it out. And then the second he came back up for the last time, things started to click. And so that's my point of it. There's no guarantee that everything's going to work out for these prospects. We want it, right? You want everyone that you love watching to go out to Baltimore and be the guy. But it doesn't always work out that way, and they're going to have to make some decisions. And some guys like fan favorites, Jackson Holliday, Kobe Mayo. On the other side, Nick Vespi getting optioned. Nick did everything right. But at this point, it wasn't going to work out as far as, because in my mind, they have a Danny Coulomb, which is his comp in that case, that they already have a Nick Vespi-esque and Danny Coulomb, who was obviously one of the brightest spots on the Orioles, especially in the pitching staff last year. So, and Will, actually, this is a great comp. Ramon Arias might end up being kind of like a Ben Zobrist. He can, besides he doesn't play outfield, but he can play any position in the infield, and he can play it extremely well. So that's just a good thing to go off of. And hey, you know what? I'm actually working on at least a Dean jersey, but we're definitely going to work on a Ramon Arias jersey as well. But good kid Dean. We are big Dean guys with a capital D.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
There was we didn't catch this comment because we were talking with Jerry at the point, but we did have Ingraven in the house, and Ingraven, if you're still here, I want to answer this question, or at least try to. But can we explain the Jackson Holliday send down in NFL terms? I think, Zach, you had an answer to this a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I was trying to I think someone in the chat answered him as well, and they said it's like
I found it. Cube answered.
Yep, your draft 1-1 draft pick gets invited to camp, but instead is sent back to play college ball instead of making the NFL roster. I guess that's close enough, but it is, I would say, more like practice squad. It's just like,
that's true. You're like the Ravens sending Zay Flowers to the practice squad.
Yeah,
after the preseason.
Yeah, exactly.
Is what it would be.
So it is just, it is obviously hard to put into football terms because very different. You don't have the minor leagues, but it's very close to having the number 1 overall pick and then being like,
like if the Bears, I guess if the Bears drafted Caleb Williams and then send him, it's hard. It's harder than you think it is, honestly, because there's so many circumstances that go into it.
There are a lot of circumstances. Well, if you're tuning into the Ryan Ripken Show for the first time, hit that like and subscribe button. Don't be afraid. Don't be shy. And for all the ones that have been here, see some new faces, we appreciate you being here. We do this every Monday and Thursday. We're probably going to change the hours around and add a Sunday in because, let's just face it, baseball season changes some things around. I have my media and TV obligations, but we want to keep giving you the content that you not only hopefully want, but you deserve to have. And it's been a fun day. We had Jerry Hariston Jr. on, former 16-time MLB veteran, played with the Baltimore Orioles, played with the Yankees, the Dodgers. Really a very intuitive guy. Awesome guy, by the way. And he's going to be a recurring member here on the Ryan Ripken Show. I think we're done for now. I think we are moving on all cylinders, but next week's going to be a frenzy. We're going to have our picks for the season on Monday. We are going to have a special next Wednesday. Keep that in mind. Next Wednesday, we are going to get that going. JD Smiter, we appreciate it. No chance to get a Ryan Ripken Show at a Sunday afternoon game. And not at the stadium. Maybe we can do something here.
Yeah,
we could
that
have
would
some
be
fun here.
Opening day post game stream with Zach just like
Slosh.
a puddle.
just I'll be like the sideline.
I will do
reporter.
it. I will come here after the game if Zach comes and does it with me.
Do I have to sign off on that though with you guys?
That would be interesting for sure.
Well, it is the Zach Bollinger show, so Zach gets to say.
Hypothetically, what if I have too many
Then
orange crushes?
It makes it even better.
Oh, now
We
that's a different now.
Mm.
Although, what do you're not? Are you going to be available to do a post game stream?
I might. It's gonna be a long day. I'm trying to figure out the TV day. We're gonna be covering a lot of the game beforehand. Then I'm doing pregame with me, Mike Bordick, Bob Haney on 105.7 The Fan, 1 to 3. So tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to come to Pickles. Come hang out with us. We are allowed when we're not on air actually talking. When we have commercial breaks, we hang out. We like to talk with who's around. It's going to be a fun day. And we're speaking into existence. It's going to be a beautiful day in Baltimore. They are not going to move this game to Friday because it's going to clear up and be a beautiful Thursday in Baltimore. We'll save the predicting the lineup for Wednesday. I think on our Wednesday day is going to be our big Oriole day. Have a couple things scheming for Wednesday. And that's also going to be, we'll describe what our formats are going to be for the season because we want to be able to give you some more extensive breakdowns. We got that screen back there when I was doing some breakdowns. We haven't even touched the surface on how much more content we're going to give you and how ridiculous some things might get as soon as we give Zach some control.
Yeah.
Okay. On that note, guys, I think it is time to say goodbye to everyone. So before we cue the music, though, that's Chaos Striker 34. That's at Zach Bollinger 18.
I had to do what Kevin does.
Yeah. I'm at Ryan Ripken, and I can't find my damn glasses, but sorry, timeout. Cue it.
Oh, yeah.
I'll bring.
Oh, you fucked up my voice.
Oh, my God. For all of us here at the Ryan Ripken Show, have a day, have a night, have a great weekend. We will see you on Monday to get ready for Baltimore's baseball weekend opening day right around the corner. You guys enjoy.
Peace.
This has been the Ryan Ripken